Hey y'all, welcome to my modern homestead. Let's celebrate 3,000 subscribers with this tropical banana pudding. We're going to call it banana split pudding. Let's go. Hey everybody, welcome back to my modern homestead. If you're new here and you don't already know, my name is Janet and we're in the kitchen today. Y'all, if you missed my last video, we reached 3,000 subscribers. Thank you so much. And because my first video was a cooking video and it was a recipe by my mother, today I'm celebrating our 3,000 subscribers with another recipe also by my mother. This is one that is near and dear to me. My grandmother learned from her mother, and my mother learned it from her mother, and I learned it from my mother. Today we're doing Mama's banana pudding. Now, I'm putting a little twist on it. I'm not just going to do banana pudding. We're actually going to make this a banana split pudding. We're going to make it tropical and make it fun. So let's take a look at what we've got. Okay, normally y'all don't see this, but this is a cutting board that my sister made for me. Normally y'all are sitting on this if you're facing me here at the counter. Look at that. Is that not beautiful? My sister did this. She drew this and burned this onto this piece of wood. She's an incredible artist. And this is my mama's recipe for banana pudding. So we're going to use it today. But let me show you what we're going to work with. We've got a can of crushed pineapple. We've got 1 cup of sugar, 3 rounded tablespoons of self-rising flour, some shredded coconut, this is the sweetened, 2 eggs, a little bit of chocolate syrup, this is hot fudge topping, 1 can of evaporated milk. I've also got my homemade vanilla. It's the Tahitian vanilla. Well, hello, we're doing a banana split. It needs to be tropical, so there we go. We've got a bunch of bananas, and they need to be really ripe. You don't want them black or mushy, but they need to be good and ripe, not green. And at least 1 box of vanilla wafers. Personally, I prefer Nilla wafers, the actual brand, but we're working with the Walmart brand today. So before we actually do the pudding part, let's put together the toppings. Well, I shouldn't say toppings. It's not toppings. It's the actual stuff that goes in the pudding. So hold on. Okay, I have an 8 by 11.5 baking dish. It's a 2-quart dish. So what we're going to do first, we're going to put a layer of the cookies and then a layer of bananas in here. And you'll hear Alyssa, I totally forgot, y'all, we need cherries for this. You can't have a banana split without cherries. And these are real cherries. We're not using the maraschino cherries. So just lay your cookies out just like this in a single layer. That one's broken, but that's all right. And we can eat this one. Now we're going to slice bananas and take that yucky part off right off the end. Yes, I opened it from the other end that most people use. And we just cut them into thin slices and layer these on. And it'll take 1 to 2 bananas, depending on the size for each layer. And when you have them cut, just quickly kind of spread them out because bananas will turn brown quickly. So you have to move kind of quick on this recipe. I mean, you don't have to be supersonic or anything, but just don't dilly-dally. I tend to be a very slow human, so don't be slower than me. Okay, that's good enough. Let me wipe my hands. Okay, now what we're going to do is just take some of the pineapple and just kind of layer half of it on this layer, and then we'll do half of it on the next layer, just like so. I remember Mama doing this banana pudding recipe one time, and she used just pineapple and the pudding didn't set. I think it was the acid from the pineapple. I'm not sure. She wasn't sure. Who knows? And this may not set, but if it doesn't, it's going to be the best banana split soup you've ever seen. Okay. Okay, I brought y'all down, put on my apron for this next part because here we have a bowl of cherries that Alyssa just washed, and we're going to pit these cherries. If you're using fresh cherries, this is very important. Nobody wants to bite down on that hard pit in the middle and break a tooth. I've already broken too many teeth. Too many teeth. I don't need to break any more. And I love this little cherry pitter. If y'all are familiar with the Blue Jean Chef, Meredith, she actually asked me about this pitter one time. I was so excited. I was fangirling. Okay, so you just push it down, and these little things push the pits out. And there we have a perfectly pitted cherry. So let's work on these for just a minute, and then we'll be right back. Alrighty, now I'll leave those right there. What we're going to do is just take each cherry and slice it right in half. This is the same knife I was using for my banana. No need to mess up another. Be careful, cherries will stain. Okay, then we're just going to take the cherries and spread them out. You don't want a whole lot. You don't want to overwhelm the pudding. Just like a banana split, it's just a little touch. Okay. Now, what we'll do is just repeat all of the same layers. Oops, I almost forgot. We need to add just a little drizzle of the hot fudge sauce. Ooh, I only heated it for the initial 1 minute and it just bubbled over. Just drizzling. Okay. Now we're ready to add the next layer. Okay, let's start the pudding part. You want to start with a cool pan, and to that add your 1 cup of sugar and your flour. Again, that's self-rising flour. Give that a little stir. And then the eggs. Yep, right into the saucepan, and make sure you've not added any heat. And then you just mix this together. Whoops. This is not how you would traditionally do it according to all the chefs and the cooks and the recipe books, but this is how Mama did it. This is how she taught me to do it, my siblings to do it. This is how she learned to do it. So that's what we do. It's a whole lot easier. All right, and once it's all mixed together well, then you're going to slowly add in 1 can of evaporated milk. Let me get it open. Make sure you always shake the milk well, and Mama always used this type of can opener. 2 holes in each side, 1 hole in each side. And we add this slowly, and if you add it slowly, it will not clump on you. Sorry, this crazy stove. It's a glass top and pans slide all over it. So you add just a little bit of milk, get that all mixed in. Add a little bit more, get it mixed in, and keep going until it's all mixed and there are no lumps. And if you do it slow enough, you will have no problem, I can promise you. Once it's no longer really thick and it's really soupy, it won't hurt to add more milk at one time because it will already all be mixed together. There we go. And one more thing, you need to add a can of water. Okay, and with the water, you don't have to be exact. In fact, I've accidentally done it without adding the water at all. But I don't advise that. You don't get very much pudding. Okay, and we put this on a medium-high heat. And you want to stir constantly. Do not, I repeat, do not walk away from this. You have to stir constantly because this will begin to thicken and stick to the bottom very easily. And you will feel it once it starts getting thick. You'll feel it start forming a film on the bottom. So make sure you're stirring all around constantly until it gets thick. We're going to be here a minute, so I'm not going to keep you. I'll bring you back when it starts to thicken up. Now my directions say once this starts to get thick, or once it is thick, you want to sit it immediately in a pan of, or a sink of really cold water. But y'all, this is my good pan. I'm not going to take my good pan when it's super hot and put it directly into cold water. I think that's asking for trouble. If you have an older stainless steel pan that's all a single layer, like I've got a really thick layer on here because that helps not to burn on the bottom, you can do that. I did it for years, but the funny thing is I don't remember Mama ever putting hers in cold water. I just remember her taking it from the stove. She would let it sit for a minute or two, put the vanilla in it, and pour it directly over the vanilla wafers. So I'm not sure if that's something I added over time or if that's something you're actually supposed to do. I don't know. But the whole idea of that is to stop the cooking of the pudding. But if you take it off of the eye Now yes, ideally you want it to be a little cooler to add the vanilla, but Mama never let it cool. And then pour it directly into the pudding. It's going to cool down. It's not going to keep cooking. You go pretty quickly. I remember the first few years I ever made this, I just about gave up. Every time I would make it, I would pull it off the eye too soon, and we would end up with banana soup instead of banana pudding. It was tasty, but it just wasn't pudding. I don't know if you noticed when I was pouring. Do you see the bowls? These are bowls I got in the Bahamas. I thought that was pretty appropriate since we were making a tropical pudding. Isn't that fun? Okay, you guys, once this gets hot, you'll start seeing steam come up off of it. And within seconds, you'll start feeling it getting kind of thick on the bottom. Now, once it starts getting thick, this goes pretty fast. It just takes forever to get to this point. But please, whatever you do, don't walk away from it, and make sure you're running your whisk along the bottom really well. You don't want to leave any thick stuff on the bottom to leave lumps in your pudding. Alyssa's back behind me. She's going to take a rolling pin and crush up a few of the cookies. Woo! Gracious, have mercy. Wasn't expecting that. Okay, we're almost there. It's getting thick. Told you this part's super quick. Yeah, we don't want this to turn quite as thick as you would do for like a custard, but thick enough. Mama had the magic touch. She knew exactly when to stop it. I tend to go on the thick side. The thick side. But you want it thin enough that the pudding pours down in between the layers of cookies and bananas. And once you take it off the heat and it starts to cool, it will continue to thicken and set up in the refrigerator. Almost there. You don't want it to boil. Good. If you get it to boiling, it will leave a thick skin on top. Okay, I think we're going to stop there, pull it off of the heat. We're going to come to this side. I have this bowl. Look, it reminds me of the inside of a conch shell with some coconut. It's somewhere between a half a cup and a whole cup. Just whatever looks good to you. Look at there. Isn't that gorgeous? Okay. There's no lumps in it. That's just coconut. All right. Then we're going to take some of the vanilla. The recipe says a teaspoon. I never, ever measure. Okay. That smells so good. All right, let's go pour it over our cookies and bananas and other fruit. Now, when I was little, Mama would leave a little bit extra in the pan, and I would lick the pan. Oh, that was the best thing ever. There we go. This is perfect. Look at that, y'all. Oh, this is going to be delicious and perfect when it's all done. Now, all you want to do at this point is just put it in the refrigerator. You can cover it with plastic wrap if you like, and give it a few hours to cool, and you're good. Let's taste it. Yes, that is delicious. Let's sprinkle a little of the vanilla wafers over the top. Okay, then we're going to drizzle just a little bit more chocolate over the top. Try not to sling it all over myself and everything else. Let's top it with a couple of cherries. Can't really see them against that chocolate, but that's all right. And voila, it is done. Goodness gracious, y'all, I wasn't even recording. I just dished up the pudding. This is what it looks like out of the refrigerator. I just finished cooking and I just tasted it. But let's taste it again. It's good, y'all. Y'all go make this. It's so good. Y'all, thank you so much for joining me. Thank you for celebrating 3,000 with me. So until we meet again, may you be blessed. Love you guys. Bye-bye.